In 1991, in Sigburg, which is in the middle of Denmark, an assembly hall was created. It's very strange, though. It's 40 acres and serves as campgrounds that can accommodate up to 1,000 trailers and tents. There are also other buildings and large tents that serve as washrooms and dining rooms for the Jehovah's Witnesses. On June 1st, 1991, it was dedicated to Jehovah, with Lloyd Berry from the governing body presiding. But there is something else that's very unusual about this Congress Hall in Sigburg. The entire 40 acres are shaped like a pyramid. You can get some sense of the layout by looking at the map. But what is even more strange is that the man-made structures and landscaping have been arranged as to appear as the occultic Eye of Horus when viewed from above. There's no getting around the fact that this is intentional. But why would the governing body be paying tribute to the ancient mythical god, especially with a facility that is dedicated to Jehovah? There is only one reasonable explanation, but just so that there is no mistake, there is more than merely an eye here. Notice how the campgrounds are laid out exactly like Horus's headdress and his chair. But from below, people don't know this. It's just like crop circles. You can't tell what it is unless you look from above. Then you can see. Back then, when this was built, there was no internet, there was no Google Earth, there was no drones. So they had no idea that in the future people would be able to do this. But someone did fly a drone over the assembly hall. Here's some footage. All the Danish Jehovah's Witnesses who are meeting here, I'm sure, are unaware that they have been meeting in the Eye of Horus. There are a number of questions that need to be answered. Why would anyone do this? And what is the purpose of it? We live in a world full of symbols. In fact, the most powerful symbol is probably that of Christianity, or as Jehovah's Witnesses know it, a symbol of Christendom. But there are symbols everywhere, and the Eye of Horus especially is everywhere. Here is the Eye of Providence, as it's also known, or the all-seeing eye. We're in the capstone to the Egyptian pyramid on our $1 bill. For many years, people have said that Jehovah's Witnesses are tied in with Freemasons. And even though Russell's pyramid has now been taken away, we do know that he was heavily influenced by the Freemasons, as you can see from the covers of Zion's Watchtower. It is evident by the symbols he used that were also used by Freemasons and other secret societies. But besides this, there's the Sung-Wing disc, which is also connected with Horus and used in Masonic temples, but it was used on every cover of studies in the scriptures. But what does this Eye of Horus and the Sung-Wing disc have to do with the Freemasons? And what are they all about? Well, basically, the Masons are a men's club, which have different levels, each level more secretive and exclusive than the last, just like a pyramid. Some call the upper level the Illuminati, or the Enlightened Ones. It is used as a training ground for those who are capable and influential. The highest level of initiates occupy the most prominent places in society, in law enforcement, the military, the judiciary, the media. They are seated in government, business, and finance, and yes, also in religion. At the top of the pyramid is the Empire, British Crown, nexus of the global system, the City of London. The ultimate goal of the Empire is total world domination and the destruction of all different forms of Christianity. Masonry promotes the corruption and degradation of the population in general through entertainment, in order to condition people to abandon classic culture, their democracy and republican thinking, and accept their own eventual enslavement under global communism. This is the meaning of the eccentric symbol on the dollar bill. It is an expressed intent of a work yet undone. Due to all the Masonic symbols inside the watchtower, it is evident have been infiltrated with Masonic agents. At the same time that the governing body was signing off on plans for the Congress Hall in Denmark, they became an associate-level NGO in partnership with the UN. And it was the same Lloyd Berry who dedicated the Temple of Horus to Jehovah that signed the application and the annual accreditation forms to the Department of Public Information at the United Nations. As we know, being an accredited NGO requires Watchtower to use a portion of its resources to educate the public about the UN's many programs, which they faithfully did, showing they knew exactly what they were doing. Regarding the Masonic symbols that the Watchtower has used, and continues to embrace in the case of the Danish Congress Hall, we shouldn't think that these are just innocuous symbols, and we shouldn't be fooled into thinking the subliminal images they use is the work of a mere prankster. If they were just a childish prank, then why would they show occultic images? For instance, why is the thief in the Live Forever book have a Eye of Horus pyramid hanging from his bag of booty? As I said earlier, symbols have power, and some symbols are charged with magical powers, or so they are intended. One website had this to say about corporate logos. Considering the fact that members of occult societies like the Freemasons study magic and the power of symbols, there is little doubt that many corporate logos apply this ancient knowledge. Some logos are even suspected to be sigils, symbols that have been magically charged to focus the subconscious to perform particular tasks. In other words, they're more powerful than you think. And this is what Wikipedia said about a sigil. A sigil is a symbol used in magic. The term has usually referred to a type of pictorial signature of a demon or other entity in modern usage, especially in the context of chaos magic. It refers to a symbolic representation of the magician's desired outcome. It is likely that the symbols that used to be on Watchtower literature, and more recently the subliminal images they put in their literature, and certainly the massive Eye of Horus in Denmark, are magically charged sigils intended to evoke the power of the devil. Now, knowing this, think of the words of Jehovah in Isaiah when he is speaking to his rebellious sons. It says, "I cannot put up with the use of magical power along with your solemn assembly." So what is the purpose of these magical sigils? Apostle Paul explained to the Thessalonians that God would allow Satan to empower a man of lawlessness, who would yield a deluding influence backed by a powerful operation of Satan, using every powerful work and lying signs and wonders and every unrighteous deception. Paul revealed that the man of lawlessness promotes a false parousia. That's why Paul warned not to believe official-sounding announcements acclaiming that the presence has begun and the day of Jehovah is here. Paul told us that we can dismiss the letters sent even by those who claim to have apostolic authority, because the presence of Jesus Christ will not take place until the apostasy comes first. The Watchtower has announced the presence of Jesus Christ since the very beginning. In fact, for over a half a century, Watchtower proclaimed that the parousia had begun in 1874. Was that not a delusion? And to this day, the deluding influence has convinced Jehovah's Witnesses that the presence of Jesus began in 1914. In all probability, this secret cult of Horus among Jehovah's Witnesses has supercharged their parousia delusion by casting a spell through the use of sigils. Although Jehovah's Witnesses will scoff and excuse the Watchtower, God certainly will not.